He said, and I quote, "What happened in Bangladesh? Rigged elections, opposition boycotted, are we on the same path? I hope we stop somewhere," unquote. Now viewers, for a while now, the India bloc has been engaged in a massive campaign, some people are saying, of trying to recreate the same antagonisms that you see in the middle of your screens, viewers, that caused the people to revolt in Bangladesh and topple the Hasina government in Dhaka. That's why some believe that the opposition has been droning on and on about institutionalized vote chori, accusing the Modi government of bending the election commission to its will to rig the polls. First, they disrupted the parliament on this issue so as to paralyze it, viewers, so as it to stop becoming the channel to root the aspirations of the people. Then, viewers, they threatened a boycott of the elections, taking their angst to the sarak or the street. The disruption of parliament has come at a massive cost, viewers. Let me break it down for you, and here are the hard facts. Uncontestable hard facts, viewers. In the Lok Sabha, this Hungama model that has been patented now, viewers, has allowed time for less than 10% of the total functioning hours, viewers, for legislative work. Parliaments pass legislation. Non-legislative work, however, viewers, is dominated 66.2% of the time spent on this. Productivity of the Rajya Sabha, total time function 41 hours. Legislation, viewers, just 32.1% of the time was spent on discussing, passing legislation. Non-legislative work dominates their, viewers. All the unproductive hours of Parliament, when totaled up, has cost the taxpayer, that is you and I, over 200 crores. Because the cost of running Parliament per hour is astronomical. That's how it all adds up. This cost, however, as exorbitant as it is, will not be a patch on the cost the nation will have to pay. And mark my words, if the street erupts, viewers, if the opposition succeeds in delivering anarchy, like you see, viewers, in the middle of your screens in Bangladesh, that is yet to recover. Its economy was doing fairly okay. Now it's in the doldrums. Look at Pakistan, viewers. Look at Sri Lanka a few years ago. The Prime Minister is conscious of this and has called out the opposition today. He has said, according to sources, speaking at a tea function that was organized in Parliament, referring to the opposition and the Gandhis, he said they only remained engaged in creating disruptions, tearing bills and creating ruckus instead of engaging in dialogue. Their obstructionist street politics model based on creating hangama is undermining democratic debate, unquote. He also pinned this down, viewers, to the insecurity of the man on your screens, Rahul Gandhi. The Hungama model is aimed at maximum disruption, but not just to capture a headline, but to perpetuate the conditions of a dark danger streetocracy, where decisions are dictated by rancor on the streets and not sober reflection inherent in debate in Parliament. We've been down this road, viewers, a couple of years ago. The dadis of a particular locality in the union capital were held up. Their disruptive activities, viewers, they were the facade, obviously the face of a larger machination, but they were held up, viewers, as totems of democracy. Then, of course, viewers, there were the farmer protests. The opposition has realized that its disinformation doesn't stand up to the test of scrutiny in the Sansad or in Parliament, so it is better off fighting the Modi government in the street. And if it isn't vote chori, it will be satta chori, and in the next session, it will be some other kind of chori. They will come up with something. On and on till the opposition thinks enough people are now buying their propaganda to want to destabilize our parliamentary democracy and hand them power. This is fundamentally, viewers, what a lot of people are postulating, and we only have to look, as I told you, to the words of the likes of Yogendra Yadav, people who advise Rahul Gandhi, who are his confidants. So let's open this up, because has Rahul Gandhi, as LOP, reduced the prestige of Parliament? Has he dragged the Sansad to the Sarak, as it were, viewers? And I want to begin with Mr. Jain, Nikhil Jain. He's a lawyer, defends the Congress point of view ardently. We have, of course, with us Mr. Iyer Mitra with us, and he's somebody who has been warning against this, and one has taken him lightly in the past, but it's coming to pass, viewers. And there's, of course, the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Shehzad Poonawala. We're keeping this small, so it's constructive, viewers. Let's hope that we can. I want to begin with you, Mr. Nikhil Jain. Do we need, and I'm asking you this very point blank, do we need an LOP like Rahul Gandhi? Do we deserve one like him?
I don't know whether we deserve one or not, but we certainly do need a leader of opposition like Rahul Gandhi. You started the debate by saying, has he taken the Sansad to the Sadak?
Yes. No, just 1 second. And let me just finish my question, because, you can't just simply dismiss it. Give me 5 reasons how he's taken within Parliament his role forward.
Rahul, I think you were far too senior to be writing BuzzFeed articles on your news debate right now. 5 reasons why Rahul Gandhi should be LOP. Let me answer the question about Sansad to Sadak. Who was taking Sansad to Sadak when Ramesh Biduri on the floor of the Parliament was abusing another fellow member of Parliament with slurs that I can't use on your show, you'll kick me out? Who was using words which were again very unkind for a lady MP, Nishikant Dubey? He was using those words for Mahua Mohitra. Again, I can't use that word on your show, you'll kick me out. These are the people who take the Sansad to the Sadak. On the question of why Rahul Gandhi should be the leader of opposition. See, a lot of this discussion happens from the BJP quarters that the Parliament is not performing well, only this many number of bills have been passed and so on and so forth. What they're not understanding is that in a Westminster system, the job of the Parliament is not just to pass laws. It is also to hold the government to account. It is to ask the right questions of the government, of the Prime Minister and of the ministers involved. And Rahul Gandhi has led the charge on that. He's led the charge on making sure that the government has to discuss important issues in the Parliament. Operation Sindoor and Pahalgam terror attacks, something that the government had been running away from. They had to cave in under the opposition pressure, under the leadership of Rahul Gandhi. They had to do a 25-hour discussion on that. The opposition also wanted a discussion on the very important Bihar SIR process that is happening, but we did not see a fruitful discussion on that. While we should have had 8 crore voters, their fate as voters hangs in the doldrums. We don't know what sort of methodology is the Election Commission adopting in terms of removing them from the electoral rolls. Countless media outlets have gone on the ground and pointed out the discrepancies. But if there is one person who is raising all these voices of the people of India in the Parliament, that is the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi. So it's not about taking the Sadak to the Sansad. Of course, these are political parties. They are going to protest on the streets as they are doing. Congress is doing, RJD is doing, SAPA is doing, all these parties are doing. And they will also raise their voice on the floor of the Parliament, which again they are doing.
Okay, yes. Go ahead.
And I hope that he will have the same temerity like I did to keep quiet when you were speaking. LOP under Rahul Gandhi has acquired a new meaning, leader of propaganda. In fact, is the only person to replicate an younger Italian figure who used to lie and his nose keeps growing. That has been replicated by Rahul Gandhi in modern times. No other LOP in the history of this country has been called by the Supreme Court. I doubt whether you are Indian when you make statements like this against the Indian Armed Forces. This man, there are serial killers and then there are serial liars. He lied about Rafale. He lied about Operation Sindoor. He lied about surgical strike. He lied about Balakot airstrike. He lied about Indian Armed Forces. He lied about HAL. He lied about LIC. He lied about Pegasus. He lied about SBI. You can keep that. You can even hide your face with it. Now, having said that, let me tell you, this is not just jhoot ka prachar. By the way, even in the new SIR issue, 2 facts came out. One, that liar-in-chief Sanjay Kumar and CSDS, which was completely fake data on basis of which Rahul Gandhi and Congress ecosystem was dancing. Secondly, the statement of Ranju Devi. By the way, this matter is already in the Supreme Court. 65 lakh people, if the question is arising, zero complaints by the BLAs, but here every day they are stalling the parliament. The BLAs say there is no problem, but Delhi mein there is a problem. Now let's come to, after Jhoot Ka Prachar, the kind of Bhrashtachar Ka Adhikar they want. What are these laws that we are bringing? This law only ensures what Rahul Gandhi himself once upon a time wanted, when under the Lily Thomas rule, he had torn up the ordinance which gave protection to those who were corrupted people to not sit in parliament. We are saying if they go and sit in parliament, they should definitely not be in executive power of government. And this applies more to us. We have the Prime Minister. We have 14 CMs. They have hardly 3 CMs. And by the way, when the same investigating agencies used to take action on Arvind Kejriwal, who was in jail for 150 days and continued as CM, the same people sitting here with their faces hidden under papers used to say very good action on Arvind Kejriwal. The same Kejriwal said very good action on Chhattisgarh CM. Now that is about Bhrashtachar Ka Adhikar. Then Sansad se Sadak tar Hungama and Hahakar. You have heard Manoj Jha, he said he wants to create Bangladesh. The leader of Sanjay Kumar and Rahul Gandhi, Yogendra Yadav, has said that we want the Bangladesh model. And Imran Masood today has said that sadko par hangama hoga. That means they believe in Imarate Sharia, they believe in boti karna hai. They don't believe in the Samvidhan Tantra, they believe in emergency mansikta of India. This is not about ECI, it is about EMI. And finally, Bahishkar. Today, Rahul Gandhi created storm in teacup, Rahul, by Bahishkar of the tea, which is a propriety, or it's a protocol or a parampara that is followed in parliament. But this is not the only Bahishkar they have done. Chalo, forget everything else. Leader of opposition doesn't go to the most important ceremony of 15th August on Independence Day. The leader of opposition does not participate in Shubhanshu Shukla discussion. What fault can you find in this? This leader of opposition boycotted Samvidhan Divas program. This leader of opposition boycotted the parliamentary inauguration, new parliament building. This leader of opposition boycotted GST session. This leader of opposition boycotted even the fact that we are having Swachh Bharat campaign. This is the level to which they do Sena, Sansad, Sadan, Sanatan, Sabka Virod, because they want to oppose Modi ji. And who is the last leader of opposition who said, I want to fight Indian state?
Okay. One second, let's open this up. I'll come back to you, Nikhil Jain. Let's get everyone's views. You see, Nikhil Jain said, Mr. Ayyar Mitra, that Parliament must be the staging ground for issue-based discussions. But I can tell you 6 instances when Rahul Gandhi has boycotted debates themselves. And most importantly, he's a member of a standing committee, Defense. He was vociferous about Agniveers, didn't want that program to be rolled out. He was vociferous about the procurement policy, defense procurement policy. When the debate came on that, do you know the presence of Rahul Gandhi in those meetings? 2 out of the total meetings that have taken place, just 2. So I don't understand how the LOP is respecting the traditions of the House. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Abhijit Ayyar Mitra.
So, Rahul, for me, the Gandhi family has produced the best leader of the opposition and the worst leader of the opposition. The best leader of the opposition was Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. Between, 1996 and 2004, she was a superb leader of the opposition. She was extremely constructive. She used to criticize the government when it was required. She used to help the government when required. She certainly didn't stand in the way of national progress and things like that. And it showed. In 2004, they won a spectacular victory and they reinforced it in 2009. Rahul Gandhi, I don't think, has ever introspected why he never manages to win an election. And this is a classic case of a child brought up in a social democrat European setting, where the child can do no wrong. Everything they do, every mistake they do is encouraged as good boy, very good boy, and that is how things work. You even look at his respect for Parliament. When he goes and talks to these second and third level students abroad, rooms of 20, 30 people, he will wear a suit and a tie. What is his respect for 545 members of the elected members of the Indian Parliament? A t-shirt and pant. Okay. He wants to talk. He loves his own voice. I think he actually records it and plays it back on loop to listen to himself, because he comes and talks. He has never once, maybe in the early time, in the first Lok Sabha he did, but since then, every time the Prime Minister responds, he's already left Parliament by himself. He is not interested in answers, he is just interested in talking. This has now become a compound problem because the issue with Rahul Gandhi is, what is the measure of a leader of the opposition? See, Sonia Gandhi proved herself spectacularly when she won the 2004 election. Okay. Rahul Gandhi, the only measure of an opposition leader is, have they won the election? This is the third general election that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has lost. And nobody remembers. Do you remember, when Nadia Comaneci became the first athlete to get a 10 in gymnastics? Do you know who was the silver medalist at that event? Rahul, do you? Nobody knows.
No.
Nobody knows off the top of their head. You don't get prizes for getting silver medal. Nobody remembers the silver medalist. You only remember the gold medalist. And therein lies the entire tragedy of Rahul Gandhi. Now, the problem is, I really wish the Congress could get new leadership because this country needs an effective opposition. The problem is, this country has not got an effective opposition. And I'll tell you what, the best thing about all of this is, I know my friend Shehzad is sitting here looking very serious and whatever, but he's actually smiling. You know why? Because Rahul Gandhi is a gift to Modi and Shehzad. I know for a fact Modi wakes up and does, recites the name of Vishnu 100 times, praying for the long life of Rahul Gandhi, because he's truly blessed to have a leader of the opposition like Rahul Gandhi.
How do you know that?
He can never lose an election with Rahul
He's
Gandhi.
being rhetorical.
He's
being rhetorical, for God's
knows
sake.
that for a
No, 1 second. Nikhil Jain, I'll just, hang on. Let me just bring you back into this.
So just to finish, Rahul.
Yeah.
Rahul Gandhi is the best leader of opposition Modi has ever had.
Okay,
But he is not the best leader of the opposition that the Congress deserves or the nation deserves. The nation deserves better. Modi got what he deserved, but the nation and the Congress deserve much better than Rahul Gandhi.
So I'm going to bring out his record, first of all, but I just want to ask you a question, Nikhil Jain. He's taken these issues to the street. You can see him marching there. He's courted arrest. He's done it all. If in Bihar you lose, would you accept that the people have rejected Rahul Gandhi's advocacy? Forget about anything else. His advocacy, have they rejected what he stands for yet again? After this particular election in 2024, Congress got a few more seats than last time, 30 or 40 more seats, right?
That's a few more seats.
He's supposed to have won the election. Yogendra Yadav was calculating 250 seats.
And we're still looking at the discrepancies in those very elections.
Please.
proof has been given to the election
How do you
commission.
explain in that same election Modi losing 60 seats?
So I'll answer that.
I mean, which election commissioner was sitting with Modi and saying, नहीं आप हमारे से setting कर रहे हैं, मैं आपका 60 सीटें कम कर दूँगा. I mean, come on. You're talking about, who are you taking for a ride here?
No.
Please answer me this question. Will you accept that the people have rejected your politics?
Absolutely not.
You will not. So you will not
Rahul,
accept the
let me
opinion
give
of
the
the
numbers.
public, which viewers
Let me give
is
the
suggestive
numbers.
of what?
Let me give the numbers.
Is suggestive. No, I'm asking you. If you're going to reject the people's mandate, then what does that make you, sir?
It's not about rejecting the people's mandate.
How can an LOP...
Can I answer?
No, I'm asking you this question. How can an LOP and his party say that we reject the mandate of the people?
Nobody is saying that, Rahul.
You just said
no,
we won't accept it.
No. What I'm saying is that when
What do
you
you say?
talk about the people's mandate, you only seem to look at the number of seats a party has won or an alliance has
But
won.
you are making it about that.
It's about the vote
You
share.
are saying that we are not being given our share. हमारे साथ तो vote चोरी हो रही है. You are making it about... No, please.
Reply?
You are making it about
Can
seats,
I please
sir.
reply? No, it has to be about seats in order to form the government, but so far as the public mandate, the people's mandate is concerned, you have to look at the vote share. So far as the NDA's vote share is concerned, I'm not talking about just the BJP, but the NDA's vote share, that was about 42.6%. 42.1%, I think. So far as the India Alliance's vote share is concerned, I'm talking about 2024 Lok Sabha elections, it is 40.6%.
So it's very close.
1.5 percentage
So
points.
those votes were counted in your favor.
Rahul, I'm not saying
No,
that.
so
These are
then where
election
is the
commission
problem?
numbers.
Where is the vote chori? You're telling me that
can
you're
I
getting
reply?
40% of the votes and you're saying there has been vote chori.
No,
and you're
Rahul,
saying, look
no,
at the difference, there's
Rahul,
1%.
Are we
So
having
are
this?
almost
Are
on
we
the
having
cusp
this
of
banter
making
just? No. Are we having this banter just to amuse Shehzad, or can I actually reply to the point?
I'm amused.
You're not letting me complete what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that
Don't
in election
spare yourself.
in election after election, you and the BJP are just talking about the seats. When you talk of the people's mandate, you have to look at the vote share. You have to look at the number of votes a given party, a given leader, a given alliance has. And when you compare those metrics, the BJP and the Congress are not that far away. The India Alliance and the NDA are very, very close. So even if hypothetically assuming the India Alliance is not to take the victory in the Bihar elections, we'll see what the results are, because
Viewers,
so far as the 2020
the simple
results.
answer is this.
The
The simple
2020
answer to
results.
what Mr. Jain is saying is this.
2020 results, RJD was the largest party, largest vote getter. Are they in government? No.
Okay.
What are you going to say? That
Okay,
Nitish
I understand
Kumar
what
doesn't
you're
have the
saying.
people's
I
mandate, but
understand that
Tejas
there
does.
is so much support for us. 40% of the voters support
Can I
us.
respond to his points earlier?
Viewers, 1 second. Just think this logically. Rahul Gandhi says that the system is so rigged that their votes are not counted in their favor. They are given to the BJP. This gentleman says, no, we are getting overwhelming support.
I'm saying despite
from
that.
the same,
I'm
from
saying
the same
despite
EVM.
that. Rahul, I'm saying despite that, see, it is for the entire country to see that when the Prime Minister was making rapidly communal speeches during the Lok Sabha elections, the Election Commission did not act. Yet whenever anything
Rahul
an
Gandhi
opposition...
lies.
No.
He's been caught out by the courts. Has he been?
No.
Has he
He's
been?
given-
No,
no,
hang on.
listen,
Has action
no.
been taken against Rahul Gandhi?
Have you run a
Has the
story?
Election Commission sued you?
Did the
I'm
Election
asking you,
Commission...
the
did
Election Commission,
the
viewers,
Election Commission
has
can't sue.
sued
The
a
Election Commission can't
cephalogist.
sue. The
Has sued
Election
a
Commission can't
cephalogist
sue
that
a
has done.
candidate.
1 second.
They
The
can only
Election
prevent him from
Commission,
campaigning.
the Election Commission, viewers, has gone out and sued a person, a cephalogist, who has inflicted 1% reputational damage on that organization but has left Mr. Rahul Gandhi alone.
Let's
Why,
look at-
viewers?
let's-
Because it respects democracy. It respects convention.
Let's look at the Election
And
Commission's
these are the
actions.
people
No.
who say that the Election Commission is burying convention. Let me just bring in...
Just 20 seconds on the Election Commission. 2022, 18,000 affidavits given by the Samajwadi Party. December 2024, multiple affidavits and complaints given by the BJD, the Biju Janata Dal.
Sir,
And now on the
the
7th of
Election
August,
Commission-
on the 7th
on
of
the one
August,
hand- yeah, please.
on the
The
7th of
Election
August,
Commission-
Rahul Gandhi has given the proof to the entire country.
Okay.
8th August, a formal
Okay, so
complaint.
how do you
8th
respond,
August, a
Shehzad?
formal complaint was
Shehzad
given to the
Punana, how do
Election
you
Commission. They're
respond to
not
the
acting on
gentleman
it.
who says, this gentleman who says very
That he has
simply,
given the proof.
40% हमारे को vote पड़ा. 40% we got of India's vote population that was voting at the time, yet we've lost.
You see,
And that tells us that we are the
we
winning
should now
party.
change the name of INC from Indian National Congress to I Need Confusion, because they say vote चोरी भी हुआ है पर हमको vote मिला भी है. Now, just now he has said that Rahul Gandhi has submitted proof. Please listen to the proof.
लोकसभा में और विधानसभा में 1 करोड़ वोटर का फर्क है. The difference between Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha was the population of Himachal.
Please don't irritate.
Almost 70 lakh new voters suddenly arrived between Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha. 39 lakh voters. मतलब हिमाचल का जो population है.
Maharashtra में
But this
just
was
now,
not
please,
what the
see
president
Nikhil, I have not
Wait
interrupted you.
again. Shehzad,
This is
alright.
not the way
I
to do
don't
this
want-
debate.
I don't
Nikhil,
want to interrupt him,
if
but
I would
that
have
was
known
not
he's in
what
the
the
studio, I would not have done
president
this debate.
Listen, I started by saying that
If I knew he was in the studio, I would
I've
never
invited
come into
both
this
of you
debate
into the
because I don't
studio.
want to be with somebody
Please
who
allow,
ruins
please
other
allow.
people. He
has
spoke
not
his turn. I did not
interrupted you.
open
He's
my
not
mouth.
interrupted. But no, please.
This is not the, no, you keep your mouth shut.
One, two, three. Was about.
2, 3, please. It's not fair.
You know, this is the
I want to
problem
hear
with
the clip
Rahul
again.
Gandhi.
Please, I want
Yeah.
to hear the clip again and then please start your response.
महाराष्ट्र में लोकसभा में और विधानसभा में 1 करोड़ वोटर का फर्क है. The difference between Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha was the population of Himachal. Almost 70 lakh new voters suddenly arrived between Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha. 39 lakh voters. मतलब हिमाचल का जो population है वो ऐड कर
This
दिया.
man is such a congenital liar, Rahul Gandhi, that he has written an article in the Indian Express where he said the figures 40 lakhs, and just 2 days ago in Bihar, he has again said 1 crore voters have been increased in Maharashtra. But the truth is that it is none of these figures. It is actually about 43, 44 lakh, which the Election Commission has acknowledged, which is exactly 4.5%, which you have shown. In all Vidhan Sabha and Lok Sabha, the difference is 4.5%. But he keeps lying. Forget that. Did he not lie about the Indian Armed Forces when he said this?
जो हमारे जवानों को अरुणाचल प्रदेश में पीट रहे हैं, जो हमारे जवानों को
The Supreme Court has said that this is the kind of nonsense that no Indian would speak. Savarkar, he lied. Uddhav Thackeray showed him a mirror. And again, the courts have chastised him. He keeps lying, and his people come here and they support that lie. Point number 1. Point number 2, he said today that there is a democracy of a medieval kind where the Raja calls up and throws everybody out. You know, CNN did a great story on Rajanna and how he was sacked. Who's the president of the Congress party? Khadge. Did Rajanna get sacked by Khadge? Rajanna was sacked by Rahul Gandhi, who called Surjewala, who called K.C. Venugopal, who called Siddaramaiah, and he was sacked, and an ST neta. Chalo, forget everything else. Why is Nikhil Jain on your debate today? Why? Because official Congress boycotts this channel, boycotts your show. Forget that. Mr. Abhijit Iyer Mitra's best friend, Sanjay Jha. What is his status? One article likha bahar. And what is the status of Mr. Tharoor? Yeah, this man is coming and defending this party and saying we are saving democracy. He is here because Congress doesn't believe in democracy. Does he realize this? And he'll come and lecture you, finally. Na inke paas janmat hai, na even their allies don't take Rahul Gandhi seriously, na sangat hai, keval janpat hai. और माँ के प्यार पर कोई चुनाव नहीं जीतता.
Nikhil Jain, a quick response on 3 points. Number one, you cannot say that the Election Commission is doing vote chori when you yourself have cited the fact that you get 40% of the vote, which is a shade under the BJP's. You can't say that the Election Commission is doing vote chori when it is actually the EVMs, when they opened, meant that the Modi government went down from 390 odd, the BJP from 390 odd, 290 odd, right, down to 240. Do the math.
And they were celebrating at that time.
Okay.
What were you celebrating?
First of all, the intervention.
Vote chori.
Can I respond?
But you were celebrating.
Can I respond?
Rahul Gandhi held a press conference. I'm going to try and pull out those visuals.
No.
Yes.
Rahul, so the objection that I was raising when Shehzad was playing that video was because that video pertains to what is being said about the Maharashtra elections, but the press conference that Rahul Gandhi did on the 7th of August was about the Bangalore Central Lok Sabha. He has not been able to prove a single lie in that.
He's talking about the Lok Sabha to the Vidhan Sabha election, sir.
Yes,
where
but
one
that
number
is not,
is 1 crore.
That
Next
is
time
not
he
what
speaks
the vote
is 70
chori
crores.
allegation is centered on. The vote chori allegation.
He said it in Bihar 2 days ago. He said it started from Maharashtra. He said that it started from Maharashtra.
The vote chori allegation is on the Bangalore Central constituency and how that happened across multiple constituencies. Instead of the Election Commission giving proof to the country, investigating into the matter, the Election Commissioner is acting like a BJP spokesperson. Even the previous Election Commissioner, even the previous CEC Rajiv Kumar, उन्होंने शायरी करी थी. कम से कम प्रवक्तागिरी नहीं करी थी.
If it's such a caged parrot, according to you, the Election Commission, why did it not give Modi a full mandate? A majority.
Rahul, whenever elections are manipulated by anybody, they're not going to manipulate every single seat out of it. Even in Russia, Putin only gets 90% of the vote and not 100% of the vote.
Yeah, he didn't get 90% of the vote.
Even in North Korea, Kim Jong-un only gets 99% of the vote, not 1% of the vote.
But he didn't get 90%.
Rahul, your argument right now is
he got 41%.
Rahul, your argument right now is akin to a Russian oligarch saying 10% of the vote is with the opposition. Therefore, we are a functioning democracy. See, चोर भी घर में चोरी करने आता है तो ईंट और सरिया नहीं निकाल के ले जाता.
कोई रिग करेगा, sir. Why would Modi want to be at the mercy of two allies who many people were saying, you were saying, were independable?
Nobody is saying that all of the seats were rigged.
Small intervention.
Nobody is saying all of the seats were rigged.
I am quoting Rahul Gandhi, small intervention from Bihar. This is your right that has been given to you by the constitution and it has been fought for. Modi, Shah and election commissioners are snatching it away. EC, BJP have stolen the elections in Haryana, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh and now for Bihar. This is a statement. 6
replies, viewers, have come from the Election Commission and they want another. All 6 have been rejected. What is the guarantee that the 7th reply will be
Has
admissible?
The Election Commissioner replied on the fact that why certain people in the electoral rolls have a name as Dot?
The point
why
is,
certain people have their name,
and
father's
Abhijit
name
Iyer
as
Mitra, look, I don't have all the time in the world, so I'm going to ask you a question. Every time the Election Commission, they demand an answer from the Election Commission, the Election Commissioner comes out, whether it was this one or the previous one, holds a press conference, they reject it. Then why don't they just go to the courts? Why doesn't Rahul Gandhi file a case under his own name? Why doesn't he do it?
You remember the last time he did something like that, the court forced him to apologize. That was in the Rafale case. He's just too scared of public apologizing right now. What did he come out and say at that time? Court ne bola hai ki chaukidar chor hai. And then he was forced to apologize. He was forced to put out a public apology for it. You look at the numbers again. See, my friend Nikhil, he doesn't seem to understand the difference between 31% and 91%. What was the percentage figures in the last 2024 election? Congress got 21.19%. BJP got 36.56%. Now, where is 36.56%, which isn't even a full majority, compared to 90%, 91%? And then when you ask him, he will say, no, see, percentage is the same. It is the victory that matters. The percentage doesn't matter.
That's not what
This is not an honest argument. This is the kind of obfuscation that Rahul Gandhi does. Unfortunately, it seems Nikhil's mathematics skills are just like Rahul's mathematics skills. At one time it becomes 40 lakhs, at one time it becomes 29 lakhs, at one time it becomes 1 crore. What can you do with people like this? There is nothing you can do. And the problem now is, I want to push back on this notion that the EC not taking action against Rahul Gandhi is democracy. That is not democracy. Allowing people to burn, riot is not democracy. When somebody erodes faith in an institution, they should take action, not criminal action, but civil defamation. I have never believed in criminal defamation, but they need to take civil defamation against Rahul Gandhi, and not doing so is not a very good look. It's certainly not a virtue.
It's not a virtue. Okay, well, that's an opinion. That's an opinion. But viewers, you saw the logic. It's fraying at the edges. And that's the reason why debates are ignored in Parliament. They're boycotted because that's the place where you test the robustness of an argument. And as you know, viewers, every good argument is based on a hard fact. And that's why, viewers, we come back to the primacy of hard facts on this show. And I want to just move on, but in the same thread, because if there is an attempt to spread disaffection within the country, there is also, viewers, an attempt to try and undermine another aspect of governance. Now, I want you to pay attention to these visuals and what I'm saying. If Trump thought that he's the bee's knees, that he could boss Bharat around, then he's got a rude shock. Despite Trump holding out the threat of secondary sanctions for continuing to do business with Russia, Bharat has not bent, much less crawled. In fact, Bharat has looked Trump squarely in the eye and without saying as much, said, "Do what you will, my friend." How do we know this? Because the proof is staring us in the face as we speak. India's EM in Moscow is doubling down on oil trade with Russia and even resting a concession on the price of crude in the bargain. In fact, just a few moments back, those are the pictures, the EM is meeting President Putin. India's decision to close ranks with Russia is accompanied by another bold decision. Another one that Trump won't like, and this was to reset ties with China. The Prime Minister even met Chinese Foreign Affairs Minister Wang Yi, sending a clear message to Trump that it has another option if push comes to shove. India's courageous diplomacy is being noticed around the world for what it is. Arnaud Bertrand, an entrepreneur of some renown, has come out and said, viewers, with great following on Twitter and X and other social media platforms, he says, and I quote him, "You can say what you want about India. Modi does have the political courage that Europe thoroughly lacks. Imagine if Europe had done this with Russia when Trump started like he just did with India to go hostile on trade. Not only would they not be in the absurd situation where they need to negotiate peace via Russia, via the intermediary of a hostile Trump, but they also could be rebuilding ties with Russia's leverage against American extortion. In same way, it's even politically harder for India to do this than it would have been for Europe vis-a-vis Russia. The level of animosity towards China of the Indian population is probably greater than that against Russia and Europe," unquote. Michael Rubin, a former Pentagon official, viewers, has come out and said PM Modi standing up for India's rights is going to be the episode that historians remember, where the US truly learned that you cannot kick India around, unquote. Nikki Haley, Republican ex-governor of South Carolina, says, and I quote, "The administration should focus on mending the rift with India and giving the relationship more high-level attention and resources approaching what the US devotes to China or Israel," unquote. She's taking on her own president, person who leads her own party. Fareed Zakaria, foreign policy expert and author, said to me, Trump placed India in the highest category of tariffs while placing Pakistan at just 19% despite Trump's threats. India has not halted its oil trade with Russia and has sought to reset its ties with China by leaving border disputes behind, unquote. The recognition that India has shown remarkable resilience inspired by PM Modi's courageous diplomacy makes Bharat's opposition parties, particularly the scion of the Congress party, Rahul Gandhi, look churlish. Remember that the India alliance has been mounting a corrosive campaign, painting Prime Minister Modi as an allegedly compromised figure who cannot afford to stand up to Trump. Sample this, and this is Rahul Gandhi a few days back, and he says, quote, Trump's 50% tariff is economic blackmail, an attempt to bully India into an unfair trade deal. Prime Minister Modi better not let his weakness override the interests of the Indian people. India, please understand. The reason Prime Minister Modi cannot stand up to President Trump despite his repeated threats is the ongoing US investigation into Adani. One threat is to expose the financial links between Modi, AA and Russian oil deals. Modi's hands are tied, unquote. And we are doubling down, viewers, on trade with Russia on oil. The contrast couldn't be more obvious. Will the India alliance now accept that Modi remains the most credible guardian of Bharat's national interest? Let me quickly go across once again to Mr. Jain here. Mr. Jain, your leader, Rahul Gandhi, said that we will stop buying oil, we will surrender to Modi, to Trump, that the Prime Minister's hands are tied because, Trump is investigating his connection between Adani and blackmailing Prime Minister and all that. Here, we are doubling our input of oil from Russia.
Rahul, so what Rahul Gandhi, the leader of opposition, was pointing out was that the Prime Minister in the past has not acted strongly when it came to matters of foreign policy.
Hang on. He's saying his hands are tied. Please don't misquote your own leader. This is what he said.
You've already played that statement.
He's not talking about the past.
You've already played that statement.
He's not talking about the past. He's talking
Rahul,
about very much the president.
Me. You can't keep on interjecting
But you're misleading the viewer.
Your viewer has already read the statement. I am giving you my interpretation, my take of the statement. You won't let me complete. You will keep on interjecting. That is not how I can make any sensible point. What I'm trying to say is that Rahul Gandhi is basing his argument on the past track record of the Modi government and Mr. Modi himself on how weak he's been on issues of foreign policy. I am glad that today the Prime Minister and the government is looking at options with China and Russia so as to reduce the pressure that is coming from the United States. I applaud that. But at the same time, I'm also very happy that the Prime Minister is finally getting to understand how diplomacy works. Because I remember when he was in his prime ministerial campaign, he was saying, China ko लाल आंख दिखा देनी चाहिए, China को boycott कर दो, मैं सत्ता में बैठा हूँ जी, मुझे पता है रुपया इतना पतला नहीं होता, रुपया इतना ढीला नहीं होता. All of those statements that the Prime Minister was making while he was not in government, now he's having to go track back on that. Why are we shaking hands with China when China is the one that supported Pakistan during Operation Sindoor? Pakistan was attacking our forces with Chinese weapons, and Operation Sindoor is still going on. Yet the Prime Minister is going and shaking hands with that. And I'm not deploring the Prime Minister for that, because diplomacy has to be done like that. It cannot be done with that sort of 56-inch bravado like the Prime Minister presents it to be. And lastly, his best friend, अब की बार ट्रंप सरकार जिनके लिए 5 साल पहले कैंपेन कर रहे थे प्रधानमंत्री, उन्हीं ने 50% टैरिफ लगाया, and that shows the kind of colossal failure that the diplomacy under this government has been. If they're willing to fix it now, finally after 11 years, I'm very glad for it.
Okay, yeah, viewers, just very quickly, Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar, Prime Minister never said it.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a statement that was put out by the Americans. Yeah. 1 second.
He said.
He didn't. Show it to me. Show it to me, prove it.
Play the entire bite, don't play half the bite.
Second. Most importantly, viewers, Rahul Gandhi says that the reason Prime Minister Modi cannot stand up to President Trump, despite his repeated threats, is the ongoing US investigation into Adani.
And the Indian government is not cooperating in that investigation.
Let me just finish, please. He's not talking about the past, he's talking about the past, present and future present viewers.
Right.
And here it is, Modi socking it to Trump. I'm sorry to use that statement. Yes.
Now, I hope you will not disturb me. If you want to disturb me, do it right now before I start speaking.
I'm not doing that. I'm trying to find the video. Can you please go ahead?
First of all, here is a party that says that 50% tariff, that's actually 100% proof that we did not capitulate to Trump. If you would have capitulated to Trump, you would have had the trade deal, you would have stopped buying the Russian oil, we would have probably nominated him for the Nobel or the Oscar or for whatever other prize that the Pakistanis are nominating him for. By the way, a man who can't stop us from buying Russian oil, and we doubled down on it, stopped Operation Sindoor. There are only two people who believed Trump, himself and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who thinks that the Indian economy is dead. By the way, Shashi Tharoor doesn't believe that statement. When he says about the policy on Russian oil, and Abhijit is here. You're disturbing me by playing that. Abhijit is here. Abhijit is here. Abhijit will say that how the Congress people wanted us to vote for Ukraine and against Russia at the beginning of the Ukraine-Russia war. India resisted. India said we will take a principled stand on peace. And thereafter, do you know who acknowledged that our stand was right? Take a big wild guess. Rahul Gandhi. On being asked that, Rahul Gandhi, please tell us what would you do different when it comes to Ukraine and Russia? I pretty much agree with what the Modi government has done. Not just Rahul Gandhi, I don't take him seriously. I take Mr. Manmohan Singh seriously. He said, in hindsight, we were wrong and they were right. In fact, Mr. Shashi Tharoor said, I had egg all over my face. Having said that, let's go to the other issue. From non-aligned to multi-aligned, gone are the days, and Bijit will testify, in 90s, somebody would call and we would stop our nuclear test. Why did we give 828 square kilometers to Pakistan in 1968 after winning 65 war? Under whose pressure did we stop the 71 war and then not even take POK or not take Kartarpur Sahib? And in whose pressure did we not take any action on Pakistan in 2008 and gave most favored nation status? Please tell us. But after that, a new normal has been set through Sindoor. And by the way, there's one more statement of Rahul Gandhi. This one you must have heard.
You tied their hands behind their back.
It's not just the Prime Minister, he says that the hands are tied. He says Indian Armed Forces and Air Forces hands were tied. And then the Air Force Chief came out and said, we had the full political backing. In fact, tying of hands happens when Rahul, you would remember you interviewed Fali Major. And he said, sir, I want to attack the Pakistani camps, and they were not allowed. This is New Bharat and frankly Congress, which traded away all our interests.
In fact, there was no political will, and there are enough quotes by Chidambaram and Pranab Mukherjee after 26/11 to say peace is
and
the way forward.
One last line because he interrupted me. On China, first, when are they scrapping their MOU? And on IWT, Mr. Nehru traded off all the interests of our farmers without consulting Parliament.
So let me ask you a question, objective question. One second.
Please play it fully, don't crop it.
Objective
don't
question.
Don't crop it what you've done.
One second.
Play the full statement.
Objectives, 1 minute. Objective, I want an objective assessment from Mr. Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Mr. Mitra, I am more concerned about a larger point. That are these narratives that are being built up within the country actually emboldening India's adversaries because they think that there's enough room for them to isolate the Prime Minister and actually push him into a corner? Is that something that is happening as a result of all of this?
We're seeing it happen right in front of our eyes. You look at, Soros-funded or Soros-staffed papers like New York Times and Washington Post. They keep echoing it. The latest version of The Economist has run the same vote chori allegations. Exact same thing that he has said. Verbatim. All the lies without any of the clarifications by the Election Commission. Now, you can roll your eyes, Nikhil, but the problem here is he says, oh, kisne bola tumko jaake udhar chumma chummi karne ke saath, Trump ke saath. So then let us apply the same thing to Nehru and Indira Gandhi. Who asked you to invite this man 3-4 times over to India? Give him official receptions out here. Here's Zhao and Lai. 1 year before he attacks India, sitting and sipping, there is Indira Gandhi right there hosting him. There is Sarvapalli Dr. Radhakrishnan. So according to your own standard, then Nehru and Indira Gandhi were the biggest failures in foreign policy, na? Nahi, but tum karoge to chamatkar ho gaya, na? Listen, how do you expect? You can't be churlish with the president of today, what is arguably the most powerful country. What did you expect him to go and do to America? Spit on his face. Say, hey, buddhe, orange head, get out of the way. What was he meant to do? Take his cup of tea? But this is how Rahul Gandhi behaves. No, he's very uncouth and uncivilized. You've seen what Himanta Biswa says about him. The same biscuits he feeds the dogs, he feeds the guests who come into his house. This is how he treats people in his house, you see. So it is a real possibility that Rahul would do that.
No, but just 1 second. You know what happened?
The problem with the Congress is that this is how they believe international diplomacy should be carried out.
Okay, well...
Have you ever heard Rahul say how he should have behaved with Trump? Never.
Okay. Just one line. Yeah. You would remember that Ms. Indira Gandhi wrote letter to Nixon in 1971 December saying, Your Excellency, please exercise your influence to stop Pakistan.
Intervention.
Viewers,
she begged for intervention.
Viewers, I'm running out of time. I've given everyone a fair chance here.
I have to play that statement at least.
1 second. So
I have to at least play that statement
on social media. Please, I just want to very closely, viewers, now open this up. get an opinion from America itself on the manner in which Trump is progressing with India. This is a very important conversation I've had with Mr. Bolton, John Bolton, who was a former NSA under Trump in his last spin in office, and knows him very well. So here it is. Listen in. Thank you very much, Mr. Bolton, for joining us this evening on this very, very important time in India's relationship with the United States. And Mr. Bolton, let me begin by asking you, you have been quoted as having said, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. Mr. Bolton, you call Trump's tariffs on India a Trump mistake, shooting ourselves in the foot. How do you assess Washington's misreading of India's strategic autonomy, sir?
Well, it's unfortunately typical of Trump to do something without thinking through its implications. The so-called secondary sanctions that he threatened against India, China, and other purchasers of Russian oil and gas was intended to put pressure on Vladimir Putin in the Ukraine negotiations. But what has happened is that although this additional 25% tariff has been announced for India, Putin made no concessions in the Alaska summit, and yet no sanctions were placed on Russia or on China, which is a considerably larger purchaser of Russian oil and gas. And Trump himself now says he doesn't think a ceasefire is necessary. So what all this accomplished was for the U.S., concerned about pressuring Russia to inflict this additional 25% tariff on India and nobody else, and to leave India hanging out to dry. It's just incredible to think how much damage has been done because Trump didn't think through what the consequences could be.
So you basically believe that this was the equivalent of a diplomatic blunder, or perhaps a diplomatic oversight, if one were to be charitable. Which way are you leaning on this, and why would Trump do this? What's the motive?
Well, it's clearly a blunder. I mean, if this is an oversight, then it just shows how totally inadequate Trump's approach to foreign policy is. I don't know what he was thinking. It's not explainable. His aides have come out subsequently and said that the real problem is that India is not simply purchasing this Russian oil at favorable prices for its own economy, but is profiteering by, I think in some cases refining it, but in many cases it's selling it onward at higher prices. And all I can say to that is, unlike China, which they say is not doing it, I don't know what China's practice is, but let me say with respect to India, the way the sanctions are written, it's perfectly permissible for India to do this. If Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, and others don't like this onward selling, then they should rewrite the sanctions to make it clear it's not permitted. I think the sanctions against Russia originally were drawn very poorly, and you might say India has taken advantage of a big loophole. That's not India's problem. That's the problem of the U.S. and the European Union, who wrote the sanctions so poorly in the first place. Now, let me say, I wish India weren't buying Russian oil and gas. I wish we could find some other way to get an advantageous price. But because I do think that if Russia's oil and gas sales internationally could be cut off effectively, they'd be unable to wage this war of aggression in Ukraine. But I have to judge by the rules of the game as they've been laid out, and India is doing what is permissible under the sanctions regime we helped put in place.
So there are a couple of things that I just want to bring to your notice. We're conflating two things here. When you say, I wish India wasn't buying the oil, it's not the Indian state that is purchasing the oil. We have state-run oil agencies. It's not they who are buying the oil. There are private players based out of India, big private companies that are buying the oil.
I understand. And that's what they're doing is perfectly permissible too.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to make it a
in fact, the share of
issue.
Russian oil being purchased by state-owned oil marketing companies is minuscule. It's almost negligible. So one needs to first of all make that correction. And I'm surprised that there are not enough sensible people or well-informed people in the Trump administration who can make that distinction. Why is that this case, Mr. Bolton?
Well, look, I think the principal qualification to serve in a senior advisory position in Trump's second term is that that they will simply say yes, sir, when Trump says, "I want to do this or do that or do the other thing," and not obstruct him as some of his aides have been saying happened in the first term by people like myself and others who recognize obviously the president is the final decision maker. That's how it works. But who would say, well, Mr. President, have you thought of this or that or the other consequence of what you're doing? They don't have those kinds of discussions nearly as much in the second term as in any normal presidency.
There's also, of course, a hypocrisy that is written into this sort of response, which has led to a policy decision, which is that America is also doing trade. In fact, American trade with Russia is up, and Putin put the number out there, some 40% or so. Number one. Number two, Europe is doing a lot more trade in LNG, for example. And Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister, India's External Affairs Minister, the equivalent of India's Secretary of State, in Moscow, held a press conference and has declared it as such. So how do we square this hypocrisy with the decision to single India out? It just tells us that Trump is a liar, and the American establishment right now is hypocritical.
Well, I think the latest statistics on Russian trade that I've seen were in 2024, about $3 billion worth of Russian exports, down considerably from 2022 when they invaded. I'd be perfectly happy to cut off all American imports from Russia, and the Europeans should do the same. This is a part of the problem in the way the sanctions have been handled from the beginning. I think both in the U.S. and in Europe, there's a reluctance to impose really stiff sanctions, but only those have any chance of working. So I'm not sure it's hypocrisy so much as just ineffectiveness and poor foresight.
Let me press you on this, because this is interesting to me as an Indian observer looking at all of this, someone from the East looking at this entire move from Washington. Do you think the administration lacks strategic thinking by proceeding down this route?
Yeah, the president doesn't do strategic thinking. He doesn't have a philosophy. He doesn't have a grand strategy. He doesn't even do policy as we normally understand that term. He has been described as transactional, ad hoc, episodic, and each decision is a new decision. I said in my book that in his first term, he made thousands and thousands of decisions, many of which I agreed with. But if the way to look at them is like a big archipelago of dots out there. You can try and connect the dots if you want, but he can't connect the dots. And I think the India decision is just one of those dots out there.
One of those dots out there. You have said that this Trump approach is aberrational and not representative of long-term US policy. How should India have been engaged instead?
Well, I think it's unfortunate because I do think Prime Minister Modi and Trump have a good personal relationship, or at least they did before a few weeks ago. And it should be a signal to everybody that having a good personal relationship doesn't shield you from this kind of Trump behavior. But the way to fix it might be for Modi to call up Trump and say, you know, Donald, we thought we had a deal in the works on the underlying tariff issue, which you canceled and imposed 25% tariffs unilaterally. And then you went and singled us out, didn't even sanction the Russians, but you sanctioned us. We need to talk about this because this is very serious, and you're my friend, and this is the way you treated me. I think that might be the best way to get a reaction that could try and restore put this relationship back on an even keel. I don't think talking to Trump's subordinates at this point would do any good.
Thank you for watching the Hard Facts from the CNN News 18 Primetime Studio, presented by Schneider Electric Smart Home Solutions.
Presented by This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Sanju Verma, the contention of the opposition is that this is basically the government trying to create a police state. Political rivals are going to be targeted. They're citing the examples of Kejriwal, Sisodia, Satinder Jain, etc., who even up until now have not been convicted of any of the charges against them, but their positions would be removed automatically after 30 days if this new bill were to become a law.
You know, Zaka, first and foremost, let me make one thing very clear. You know, we've grown up listening to this adage that politics is the last resort of a crook. And a politician should not only be honest, but should be perceived to be honest as well. And I welcome the 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill because it actually seeks to cleanse politics. It is not only doing the right thing, but also it is about seeing to be doing the right thing. And I applaud Prime Minister Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah for, taking the giant leap of faith. Hopefully it will become a law as well. Now, please understand why the opposition is rattled. We know, for instance, let's talk about Rahul Gandhi. Since the Congress cabal, is behaving like a bee in a bonnet. The Modi surname defamation case, that is still sub judice. Rahul Gandhi has not been given a clean chit. And the, imprisonment for that is 2 years if it goes against him. National Herald case out on bail, Rahul Gandhi. There the imprisonment could be as much as 7 years. Veer Savarkar defamation case of 2023, the imprisonment could be as high as 2 years. There's an Indian Army defamation case pending against Rahul Gandhi dating back to 2023, where the imprisonment could again be 2 years. There's an RSS defamation case pending against him in 2014, dating back to 2014 in Bhiwandi, where the sentence could be 2 years. RSS defamation case of 2015 in Guwahati court, where the sentence could be 2 years. The Rafale defamation case, mind you, is not yet a done and dusted deal, dating back to 2018, where the sentence could be 2 years.
No, Sanju Verma, just one clarification. This particular bill, which if it becomes law, does not apply to any case for where the maximum sentence is less than 7 years. Just wanted to clarify that. Go on.
Yes, I'm aware of that. But the fact of the matter is that Rahul Gandhi has the one big case, which is the big daddy of them all. That's the National Herald scam case, where Rahul Gandhi is out on bail, Sonia Gandhi is out on bail. And like I said, the imprisonment could be 7 years or more. And if you club all the pending cases against him, 25-30 saal, because whether offense is compounded or not, whether cases can be clubbed together or not, these minutiae have still not been resolved. So my limited point is this. यदि आपको जो कहते हैं हिंदी में चोर की दाढ़ी में तिनका, if the opposition has nothing to hide, if Rahul Gandhi has nothing to hide, why cry foul? You should welcome the move to cleanse politics of corruption. And let me say one thing, Zaka.
Okay.
Beat Lalu Prasad Yadav, 20 seconds. Beat Lalu Prasad Yadav. His conviction came when the Congress was in power in the center. Beat J. Jayalalitha, beat Karunanidhi, beat Shibu Soren. These people were convicted or arrested or both when the Congress was in power in the center. How can it be okay to have Lalu Yadav convicted in 2013 when the Congress is in power in the center, but in 2025 when the Modi government says, let even the Prime Minister, Chief Minister, everybody be held accountable, the Congress starts crying foul. You can't have, chit bhi meri or pat bhi mera.
Okay, Sujata Paul, the point is that at the end of the day, if you are convicted under PCA, you automatically have to give up office. The issue here is that a minister or chief minister or prime minister is holding high office, where one of the principles of granting bail is if the accused person has influence to tamper with either witnesses or evidence, then bail should not be given. So, if by that principle, if an influential person is in jail, then the least he or she should be doing is giving up that position of influence.
First of all, it's very clear that politics is indeed the resort of the criminal because he changes laws to suit himself. And let me explain why. Right now, the BJP spokesperson mentioned that there were certain politicians who were convicted. Conviction is the word. So that means it is not as if there are no laws in this country. Why is it that the Bharatiya Janata Party calls people corrupt says that they are going to put them in jail and they'll do chucky piecing, and then when they move to the BJP, they are made deputy chief ministers like Ajit Pawar was. Similarly, when we talk about this particular law, it is arbitrary because you cannot defeat us electorally. You will go into that state and bring down the government. But one thing is very clear, that the aim is to target Rahul Gandhi because he is such a threat to Prime Minister Modi. He wanted to become biological and the people showed him his place. And just now you heard the BJP spokesperson rattle off about Rahul Gandhi. So it is clear that he was removed from Parliament because the Prime Minister knows that he is a threat to him, because he stands for the Constitution to protect.
But Miss Paul, yesterday many opposition MPs raised the issue of Mr. Amit Shah going to jail. Mr. Amit Shah clarified that even before he was arrested, he resigned from his position and he did not go back to holding any kind of public office till after.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post. You're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. India has launched a new diplomatic reset. Engagements with Russia and China are gaining speed. Foreign Minister Jaishankar is in Moscow this week. Trump wanted India to dial down ties with Russia, but New